Our next question comes from Michael H. Robert Monroe talked about needing to overcome the physical human drive for sex early on his travels because it became very distracting. I too have become overwhelmed with seeking out a partner to explore with in the non-physical at times and find it hard to focus on anything else. Does he have any experience or advice he can share with overcoming this distraction?
Yes, that distraction tends to lie mostly with your intellect, actually. You're worrying about it, you're fussing with it, you're constantly coming back to it. That tends to lie with your intellect. It's a little easier once you get outside your intellect. Get your intellect to be quiet. You're not bothered by that quite so much. And the reason for that is that you have very strong instincts. You know, people say that the human animal doesn't really have any instincts. All the other animals have instincts, but we humans, we are above the instinctual level. You know, everything we do is because we're smart enough to reason things out. We don't just do things instinctually. Well, that's a lot of nonsense. Humans have very strong instincts, just as strong as any animal of any species. And those instincts, like all instincts, center around the two criteria for survival in our virtual reality, and that is procreation, sex, and survivability, being able to survive. Those are the two things that any kind of creature has their instincts about. You know, you don't have instincts about, how to drive an automobile. You have to learn that. Your instincts are just about survival and procreation. And you, as a human being, have very strong instincts. Now, survival isn't the issue here. It's the procreation that seems to be giving you a problem. So that is associated with your physical body. It's part of the rule set of how we evolved from these initial conditions and rule sets. Okay, we evolved, and in order to not become extinct, we had to have these instincts. And these instincts drive us very hard to mate and produce more humans. That's why we have these instincts. And for a lot of years, for many thousands of years, it was really close whether Homo sapiens would go extinct or not. It's not like Homo sapiens one day was there, and after that it just took over the world. There were a lot of years where it was a close call. And there was at least 5 or 6 other humanoids that were walking around the same time Homo sapiens were walking around, Neanderthal being one of them, but there was lots of others too. And what happened to them? Every one of them went missing. Every one of them went extinct. Why? Because they couldn't create enough new copies of themselves. They couldn't procreate fast enough because they were dying at a higher rate than they were procreating. Well, if you die at a higher rate than you're procreating, you become extinct. You go away. And why are we still here? Why did Homo sapien, among all the humanoids, make it? Because we're really good at procreating. We think a lot about it. We feel a lot about it. It's a big part of our life. And we were better at that than all the rest of them. So we just have that as part of Homo sapiens. But look, Homo sapiens has to do with this virtual reality we call the physical universe. Homo sapiens have nothing to do with other virtual realities and other places you go. It's mainly an artifact of of what we call physical evolution on planet Earth. Okay? So when you get out of this virtual reality, your instincts don't have the pull on you, don't have the strength that they did when you're in this virtual reality, because they are something here of this virtual reality. Now, it doesn't mean that you will have no instincts when you get into the out-of-body state or the lucid dreaming state or into your own world in a daydream, but there'll be a lot less. So first of all, the big thing you need to do is learn how to let the intellect go. then learn how to shift yourself over to your intuitive side. When you do that, a whole lot of things will change. Attitudes will change. Your image suddenly has gone away. You are the real, authentic you. So you get a lot of changes then. And it should be easier there to master what part of your instincts come along with you, that part that you drag along with you to these places. Because you do drag some of it along with you, but it's a lot easier to subdue those instincts in an intuitive space than it is here in this reality in the intellectual space. So I would say develop your intuitive side, because all of the paranormal things, out of body, remote viewing, mind-to-mind communication, all healing, all of those things all take place on the intuitive side. And the only way you can do those things is to get the intellect to sit down and be quiet so you can function on the intuitive side. So practice your ways of getting into your intuition. Practice your being intuitive, and that will help lessen those drives that are getting in your way. Other than that, you just have to master them. You grow up. You don't have to be at the mercy of your instincts. Your instincts give you nudges. They don't force you. Your instinct doesn't say, you must turn left here, not right. They just nudge you. They give you an inclination. But you can always say no. You can always say, no, I'm not going to turn left here. I'm going to turn right. I turn left here every time I come down this road. I turn left here. And this time I'm turning right because I want to see what's down that other side and do something else. So your instincts are not masters. They're nudgers. They're sometimes very good at talking you into things. They can be good at that. But if you start exerting your free will control over them, then you will learn that you can open up to them and shut them off. You have that ability, but it'll take some practice. The only place where you're not going to be able to shut them off entirely is when you're in this virtual reality where those instincts were created. But outside of this virtual reality, you can learn to shut them off entirely if you want. So just practice it. A little willpower should work for you. Actually, willpower will work for you in this reality too. It's just a little harder because the instincts have a little harder, push and a little harder pull on you here. But you can still overcome them. You should never be a slave to your instincts. I and MBT Events hope you liked this video. We will continue to post videos for free on my YouTube channel, but please understand, these videos are expensive to produce. They represent many thousands of hours of production and editing, as well as all the necessary audiovisual equipment, computers, and software. If you find something of significant value in our videos, please consider supporting their production through our Patreon account or through a one-time donation. It would be very much appreciated. The links are in the description below. Thank you.